I'm Linda McHenry, host of The Writer's Voice, and my guest today is R.B. Wood. How are you, Richard?
I'm really good, Linda. Thanks for having me on the show.
Glad to have you. Folks, we're going to be talking about what comes next today. What happens after you write your book? What do you do to get it on the shelves? What do you do to have people read it to become a famous best-selling author? First, he's going to talk to us about his writing. He tends to write speculative dark fiction. So why don't you explain to us, Richard, what that entails and what it is you do?
Sure. Speculative fiction really kind of covers fantasy, it covers science fiction, it covers horror. It's what I tend to lean towards is the more horrific. I like developing three-dimensional characters and then throwing something completely out of left field at them to see what they do. And my writing tends to be, darker fantasy, urban fantasy, horror-based. My latest book that's coming out next year is what a lot of people are calling a supernatural thriller. So that's all encompassed with speculative dark fiction.
Okay, so all the wild and crazy things happen that are not light and fuzzy and warm and cuddly and stuff that you'd see like on the Hallmark Channel. It's like the opposite of that.
No, maybe you could call it the Hellmark Channel. I don't know, but
Okay.
it is the opposite. I mean, we all have light and dark sides.
Right.
We all have thoughts that aren't the nicest in the world, and we've seen a lot of that play out over the last couple of years. But I like to play with those emotions. I mean, horror is one of the few genres that's based on emotion as opposed to a specific thing. And I like to play with those emotions. I like to see how people would react. And
well, doesn't that create more conflict? I would think that if you're dealing with the darker emotions and the sadness and the fear and the danger and the imminent threat of death, I would think that you probably have a whole lot more ability to come up with conflict.
You almost have too much conflict. If anybody pitched the idea of the year 2020, for example, to a publisher or to a director, they would have thrown them and laughed them out of the office and said, not all that is going to happen. I mean, if you put more murder hornets in the first act, you need to use them by the second act, right? Yeah. So writers do have a tendency, to generalize here, to work alone. But what we are going to talk about today requires expertise that a writer may not have, or a process that involves a lot of people. So that's one of the challenges for writers to overcome, is on the business side of the house. You need to understand marketing, you need to understand return on investment, and all of these business terms and these business functions that you may not be familiar with, and you may have to work with other people to get that done.
Well, you absolutely have to work with other people. The thing is, though, is you need to understand ROI and you need to understand investment, but you don't need to understand it with those words. So for people like you who have an MBA and an MFA and you have all kinds of education, you go to school, you're trained, you understand the principles, they're ingrained in you at a very young age. For people like me who didn't graduate from college, okay, people who maybe start writing later in life, people who maybe never worked in business, they can still understand the concepts because the basic concepts aren't complex. Okay. And the ones that are complex can be explained in a way so that anybody can understand them. And the other thing that writers don't understand is they don't have to do it all themselves. And in fact, it's probably better that you don't.
Well, you
need to be part of a team.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't want to edit your own book, right? You want a professional editor to put a fresh set of eyes on it, because you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. Right.
You're only one reader. I mean, that's like if you like with the beta readers, and this is probably something we should talk a little bit about, because I think the importance of beta readers, even before you submit to an agent or publisher, is huge. Because again, you need the different perspectives.
I had a group of 20 beta readers for Bayou Whispers. When 3 or 4 people point out the same thing, you need to look at that.
So you can find Richard at his website at rbwood.com. And where are you on social media so people can find you?
So I'm on Twitter at rbwood. You'll see me in my nice white Panama hat, otherwise known as the Hannibal Lecter hat.
Okay.
You'll find me on Facebook, and I have a page, RB Wood Writer. And I also have like you, I have a podcast called the Word Count Podcast. We just finished our 100th show. Our 10th season has ended. I also have an Amazon page. Just look under RB Wood.
There we go. As one person said, another writer said, you can find your books where all good books are sold.
We'll go with that.
You like that, huh? Okay, Richard, thank you. It's been great to have you. We're going to be having you back again. Take it easy.
Thanks, Linda. Take care of yourself. Be safe.
You too. Bye-bye.